Hey everybody, Jim here, and I'm not here with Luke Hollywood. Where is Luke Hollywood? I'm going to roll the dice. I think he is asleep. That's what the dice say. I think he either passed out from being so tired or maybe drunk, or column A, column B. But because of that, and we were going to do a hot off the presses episode with Diamond in the Rough. I think we'll still end up doing that sometime this week, and then we'll just put that up. That's kind of a bonus deal because what I'm going to put up right now here is the Promised Neverland Chapter 1 that we did 14 weeks ago. You can get to listen to that. In the meantime, I ended up doing a One Punch Man Chapters 1 and 2 bonus episode that I put on the Patreon. But before we get into the Promised Neverland, remember all the important things. Go over to Twitter at Weird Manga. Follow us. We'll follow you back. Then you can yell at Luke for sleeping, right? How dare he sleep? I mean, you're not supposed to be doing that.
How dare you?
How dare he? Also, go over to our Patreon, patreon.com/WeirdScienceManga, where you can get 14 episodes in advance, including that bonus one that I just said, One Punch Man Chapters 1 and 2, and also get our Patreon Picks of the Week podcast that comes out every Tuesday with 3 chapters from that week picked out of all of the chapters we end up doing on our regular weekly review show that then comes out Wednesday. So you can do all of that. But like I said, this is kind of like a dip your toe bonus deal because we were going to do the Diamond in the Rough. But again, right before we go into this, we'll probably end up doing that sometime this week. And then we'll put that out as well. So you'll kind of get, a twofer in the September. So please enjoy this episode. If you do enjoy it, be great if you go over and rate and review this, especially on iTunes, but wherever you can, rate and review. But without any more of me yakety yakking, let's go and listen to the Promised Neverland Chapter 1.
We are fighters, we fight until we win. The stands alone, though, the breath of all that is and been. Ghost detectives, only the strong survive. We made the final round, now we try to stay alive. Manga Monday, heading to outer space. Manga Monday, together all the worlds will face. Manga Monday, fight to live and live to fight. Manga Monday, never stop till we get it right.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Manga Monday here on the Weird Science Manga and Anime Podcast. I'm here with my man, Luke Hollywood.
Yo.
Luke Hollywood here, and we are going into a, regular deal now where we don't have any hot off the presses. We're going back to the list, the grand list that I will tell everybody right now. The list is getting low. So if you are involved in wanting to get some things, requested and things like that, we are getting towards what? I saw the list you showed me. What is it, like 5 or 6 that we have right now?
So
Yeah,
we're
last
open for suggestions.
And just as a shout out, that includes the Detective Conan from Colton as well. So I want him to know that that's on there. So he doesn't
just in case he's getting worried.
I requested things, you jerks. But yeah, that's in there as well. And also, maybe it's only 4 because I'm still not sure if Mark is off of his probation period.
I know Mark's got 2. So
does he?
I think he's getting too big for his britches.
I know that one of them is Full Metal Alchemist. I did see that. I didn't see that he had another one. But Full Metal Alchemist is a good one, right? That's pretty good. But yeah, we're here to talk Promised Neverland, a book that ended up scaring the crap out of me by the end. And really, the idea of this, I will give you my nutshell deal even before we go into the info here. This is Annie meets Animal Farm, but in a human twist, and it is more than a hard knock life here. This is a tough deal going on, and it is pretty good. And
I thought it was just Chicken Run.
Maybe that too, if you're, not as fancy as I am.
Oh, okay.
If you want to get non-fancy and don't go, you're like a George Orwell type thing, you go then. I'll let you go, Chicken Run. But what is it? And give me the info.
This is the Promised Neverland. Picked by multiple parties, it seems. We were having discussions about this.
I thought it was East Coast, West Coast rap.
I didn't know what was going on. Oh my goodness. It
really was crazy.
So Jason C., Monty, and maybe even Clay. So everybody wanted the Promised Neverland.
Well, here's the thing. It started a bit of an argument. I thought somebody was going to get sliced.
I was getting worried.
But with that, though, doesn't that show you how popular it is?
Yes.
I mean, really, everybody's taking credit for this.
There you go.
And thankfully, I know that me and you both like that. That's a spoiler. So it's not one of those where they're going to have to fight more about, hey, it wasn't me.
I mean, the HLC, Civil War.
Yeah, we don't need that. This isn't High School Family. This isn't anything. Though, it ends up, because of how much I like it, it gets dark.
Oh, yeah.
At the end, and real dark. And the thing that got me is that I heard some people talking. You know, I watch what's going on in the manga Slack chat and things like that. I do. I have the ear to the pulse. And with going on, there had to have been something in the last month or so that really, really was like, holy moly. Like, it really hit. I saw everybody saying it was dark. So I read this, and I'm going through it. I'm like, what else could get darker than this? Holy moly, what happened? But you keep going.
Yes, it was written by, here we go, Kayu Shirai, and art by Pozuka Demiuzu. There you go, rolls off the tongue. First published in Weekly Shonen Jump in August 2016 until June 2020 for a total of 20 volumes, 18 released in the West so far by Viz Media. You're reading from Volume 1 from Viz Media, I'm reading from the app. I got Volume 17. All the way over there in the reading stack. I'm pointing at it right now, but you can't see it. But it also won the 63rd Shogakukan Manga Award back in 2018. So another award winner.
I can see why.
Oh, yeah.
I can see why.
Yeah. As of today, and this is hot off the presses news, Jim, I might add, because this just dropped with the latest Shonen Jump issue that just came out today. But 32 million copies distributed worldwide as of April 2021. Oh my goodness. So that is a lot of, and so that's worldwide. So that's not just Japan, that's here. Breaking news.
Breaking news. Yeah. A little late on the breaking news sound. It was taking a while to load up, but that's what's crazy. And I said to you before we started recording, we say it a lot, the idea where even I got in some fights with some people, and more not fights, but more like all of a sudden they kind of saw that I was getting more and more into manga. And all of a sudden, when they're expecting to see tweets even about, say, the latest Batman or Spider-Man, they were seeing me gush about, Sakeme-san or the idea of now even like a blue box. And then that, man, I don't like that. I don't like reading it backwards. I'm like, well, is it backwards for, if you're whatever. But also, it's going on and like, it's a fad. It's something like that. And I like, you don't understand. You don't understand how much these things sell. If Batman and Spider-Man got close to it, they'd be freaking through the roof, and then everybody would love it. And that's what gets me is the idea, and what I said to you before, was that a lot of the thing that I love about manga is you get these stories and that you'll never get in any Western comics. If you're going to get even close, it would be a creator-owned deal or an independent thing, but not even that. Because what I think goes on in the West, and I'm meaning more of the United States because I'm a jerk, right? And that's how I am. But no, the idea of you go with a pitch about a story, and a lot of times when you think about it, it's like, ooh, that's not commercial, that's not viable, that's not going to sell. And then you hear these numbers, and that's so different, it's so wrong what people think. And I wish that this would be where you do see the big two trying to get the lightning in a bottle. Some of these things are, I'm going to do it like an anthology book. That's not going far enough, right? Because just because Shonen Jump is a anthology type deal, that doesn't mean that that's what makes it great.
Right.
And I think that the big two, they really have to kind of break some barriers and get some stories that are like this and just let them happen because they're huge sellers. Like even the ones that we think are, that probably doesn't sell that well. It outsells everything.
Like, Mashal is doing numbers in Japan, and that's something that both of us weren't too crazy
we weren't
on.
too great on.
And that's just like knockoff Harry Potter. So if you did knockoff Harry Potter the comic,
it's like knockoff Harry Potter while he's in jail pumping iron in the yard.
Yeah.
That's what I think of it as.
That would last like 3 issues, and then they get the boot, like, you know?
Yeah, and yeah, that's true, though, too, because it is the people reading it as well.
Yeah.
They have their barriers as well. But yeah, the idea of Mashal and things like that, there's going to be a little announcement later that will kind of tie into the idea. And I'm glad you brought that up. Like, we didn't like that first chapter of Mashal, but what's to say we wouldn't like it later, Luke? And how would people know that? How would they ever know that we might like things later? But we'll leave that for the end. But keep going.
Yes, well, we also have animes. We have 2 anime seasons here, one in 2019, one in 2021. So just wrapped up recently. Now, here's the deal. This is what you might have heard us talking about.
Is it from
recently.
the anime? Is that where it got weird?
Weird is putting it lightly.
Okay, because now that when you started saying the anime, I'm like, oh, I think that when I saw somebody start the conversation, it was like, hey, I just watched the latest episode. So is that what it was?
I don't even know if anybody's even watched the season 2 because it's gone off the rails, something serious. So the first season was very well received, very highly regarded. Everybody loved it. And then I've never seen like you have the perfect premise, you have it all set up, only to succeed, and then somehow they just go off the rails completely with anime that was rushed and poor paced. Apparently, that's what everybody was saying.
Did it stop following the book as much?
What it did was it like skipped entire arcs, like redid characters, redid whole plot lines just to rush it pretty much to wrap up. Pretty much like a dozen arcs in a single season.
And so when they said it was more that it was terrible. Is that what? Because I'm telling you, people were like, "Oh my God, did you see it? I can't believe it! And, oh man, I thought something really dark.
It was more like the horror show. Like, I watched
of
a
what
car
it became.
Crash.
That stinks.
A mess.
So are they going to come back with another season and try to right the ship? Or
because the thing is, like, I think in one of the last episodes there wasn't even like writers' credits. Like nobody wanted to
put their name to
seriously,
it.
That's what it was like.
Crazy.
You know? Yeah, so they might have just washed their hands with it, you know, which is a bummer because like we see 32 million copies sold. There's a lot of fans, you know.
It's weird. I don't know why or what, and these things happen or whatnot. But anything else? Any stage plays? Any rock concerts?
No stage plays. But I thought it was interesting. We did get a live action.
It would be
movie. Annie.
You'd have. Yeah. You did send that to me. Yeah,
and that is kind of like the stage plays on the TVs. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's called a movie.
The big screens.
Somebody goes to Broadway. Man, this is like a Broadway show, but it's on the stage, but not on the TV.
Wow.
So like, no, it's a Broadway show, and that's a movie.
And it also has the spin-offs, light novels, video games. Just it seems like phone games. No big RPGs. I was
going to say that would be a weird game.
Well, like it would be like an escape game, I suppose.
Maybe. I mean, I guess, but it could be, but I don't know. Do you want to play a game that you're escaping from this nonsense with the kids and stuff? I mean, you want them to escape, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
But it might be a little too dark, which is the concept of this. And I think that the best thing that it does is it sets you up, and it sets you up to just punch you in the gut.
Oh, absolutely.
And especially because it's not going to pull back on being graphic. I mean, there is a little girl who we see dead and then packaged to go off and get eaten. And it really shocked me the way it was. But the idea of this, though, at the end, it's not as much horror in my mind. It's more of, I am so pissed off. I want to go and help those kids escape, and they better escape. Like, it's not like, oh my God, I'm so scared and I can't look. This is like, now I'm pissed, and they better live.
And
like,
you're really rooting for them. Like this is a lot like the thing we had with, you remember in the Elusive Samurai? And it had that that big shock page.
That big shocker.
That like threw us for a loop.
Yeah, that threw us up.
But that was so early on in the chapter that we didn't really have any connections. Whereas by the time this twist hits, we are so sympathetic towards Emma and Ray and Norman and poor little
Maybe
Connie.
not Ray so much, right?
Oh,
Ray,
he's a little moody.
At this point, Ray is not winning any sort of awards here. But you know what? That makes him a gem.
There you go.
I actually consider him, in a weird way. Emma obviously would be the gem of the whole deal, but she's like the given gem.
Oh, yeah.
You know, she's there. But I think that Ray, to me, is the gem because you're going to need somebody who is kind of a punk, who doesn't think the way the others do,
doesn't
and
play
isn't
by the
really
rules.
that exciting. Yeah, you need him. You need Ray. You need this darkness of it. Oh yeah, and. So the thing is, though, it's a shock. And also the other thing is, it's a shock what you see, but is it a surprise? Because I don't think it is. Because the minute that you end up having something pointed out in this book, you know something is wrong.
There's
and you're just waiting for it.
Throughout the chapter, right?
And you know what the weirdest thing is? You go into this, and I'm reading it in the volume, but you have the setup, and you have some, the color page, all these things going on with it to set up this deal of, hey, we're orphans. We have this lady. She's not a real mom, but we call her mom. She's so great. And we're a family. Oh, and by the way, we have numbers tattooed on our neck. Right there, I'm like, okay, something's wrong.
This is every orphanage, right?
Yeah. And the funny thing is you have like a really good spread page at the beginning with the chapter page. And look at it right now. I mean, I see Emma's number, right?
Yeah.
I see Norman's number. Why didn't I see those the first time I went through? Because I didn't. It's one of those things. It's almost like an optical illusion. Like I sit there and look at a bunch of dots and things. Next thing I go, I see a rocket ship, and it was like, what? Oh my God! Because I'm just kind of getting into it, seeing things, looking at the little kids. Unfortunately, you end up seeing a little girl that will be dead soon, right there with her rabbit bear. I was going to call it, why was I going to call it a rabbit bear? But it's a stuffed animal, stuff like that.
Adorable.
And you go in where they wake up and you get the whole idea of what this place is in the point of view of kids who think it's the greatest place ever. And that if you get lucky, I guess, or whatever, you get adopted, you get taken away. And that always happens before your 12th birthday. Now, the big setup here is that Emma, Norman, and Ray, they are 11. Their time is coming up, and they never really say anything. Like, it was a weird deal of, well, what happens if you, because they still think it's adoption, right? And so what happens if you, like me, nobody would have wanted me. I'm 11. I'm just, well, what happens? Do I get set free?
Yeah, we don't see any older kids.
No, and you're not told what would happen. Like, this isn't the idea where if you are, unfortunately, in like a foster home situation, foster care deal where you're waiting to get adopted, all those stories end up being, well, I'm 9 and I've been told that once you hit 10, nobody adopts you because you're older and they want young kids and things like that. There's never a mention of what happens if you don't get adopted, mainly because there's no adoption going on and they're always taken away. I think that was like one of those things that I was wondering, like, well, why aren't they talking about that? Like, they couldn't possibly kill them when they get to 12, right? So they send them, you got to work in a factory, you got to go up. But it's smart the way that it's played out because that never happens because they're not going to be adopted. But you end up
as you were saying, it's not like at the start, it's very, it's very nice, very idyllic life here,
I want to live there.
It's great.
I mean, especially like somebody like my wife, where she was an only child. Like, if I showed her this beginning, I guarantee you she would say, besides being a foster, though she didn't really like her parents, so maybe that would even be a plus. But the idea of that's what she always dreamed of. A huge family. I mean, this is everybody. And nobody is upset. Yeah, they look a little drowsy waking up. And I'm telling you, you have 3 kids in this first deal. The one that's just running down the middle of the bed is like, yeah, I love him. I love the girl who's yawning. And then I love the guy at the far end who's just like stretching like he's ready to, start boxing somebody. But everybody's excited. They're happy. They've been living there all this time. You end up having Emma, our main girl, like, hey, I've been living here 10 years. This is my family. Even if it isn't, it is. All these things going on as she's helping the little kids get dressed. I mean, you can't start with more of a smile on your face of seeing these cute little kids. I will say it right now, too. The art in this is incredible.
Oh,
it is
yes.
really, really good. And it's good in the way that you really get the expressions well. It's very detailed. It's really good. And yeah, they're running after each other. The little kids are having pillow fights. You end up having Emma's like, hey, come on, everybody, we've got to get together. All the little kids are leaning on her to help. She's like the big sister to everybody. Yeah. And it plays out great. You know why they need to do this and why it's so great is that at the end, you know that Emma's not going to leave without saving these kids.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you can't just leave them behind. I think Ray would. That's why he's a gem. He'd leave them in a second.
Even Norman, you know?
Yeah.
Would.
Well, that's the thing. You set this up because our main characters, Emma, Norman, and Ray, you do see that they are the smartest, but you get that little deal that Emma, she might try, but she's more the athletic type. She's also very, very emotional.
The biggest heart.
Yeah. Norman, he's like the thinker. Ray is the plotting and scheming and dark guy, but he's still very smart, and he analyzes things. Norman kind of is the smart guy who does things. Emma just is there to make sure everybody's happy, go through the deal, and do her thing. Hopefully, by the end of the day, she gets praised and things. She seems to be very big on that as well. But you're going through this, and everything seems on the up and up. You think, okay, well, here we go. We have Annie. They're going to start singing "It's a Hard Knock Life." They're going to be scrubbing the floors, things like that. So what is the deal? I mean, once you get pointed out that they have these number tattoos on their neck, you start to wonder, like, what is this really? I mean, we even get introduced to Mom, you know, the lady who's running this orphanage, and she seems very nice, which then makes her even, like, that's the best thing. It makes it more evil by the end. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, if this was this lady, like, you brats, get to work, you doing this, and they're making, like, little, you know, macrame things that she's going to sell and not give them money, something like that, then you're like, okay, I get it. But it is the dupe. It is the dupe. And in my mind, what you're left to think by the end is, like, why haven't they gotten rid of Emma, Norman, and Ray? And there is a bit of a kind of a side note that they're like the caviar of this place. They're going to be the deal going on and forward but you're introduced to everybody. You're introduced to, you know, Norman, Ray. Ray makes fun of the way that you have Emma talk. So you get like, you know, that's him. He's a gem, I said. But yeah, and they're all just getting things ready. They're going, but there's some bad things in this. Like at one point, Emma's chasing the one little kid. I'm going to eat you. And I'm like, that is so inappropriate by the end. Oh, my God.
That aged poorly. Oh, geez.
Yeah, it did. But even that, you end up having Ray and Norman, Ray more, make fun of Emma, all these things. And she goes crying to Mom, and Mom ends up hugging her. And you're like, man, like at this point, you are thinking, because it's weird. Like, and manga, I can see a manga of just this stuff for 30 volumes.
This is slice of life through and through.
The life of an orphanage, and they're going to try, and maybe they'll fall in love, and they'll do this. So you're not waiting until I see those tattoos.
That's the first warning sign, right? That's when the alarm bells start ringing.
Yeah, and you're like, okay, what's going on? And that's where you end up, everybody's going. Now, again, they're in plain sight this whole time, and I did not recognize them. I might be blind or dumb, but I just didn't even think. And I'm going through, Mom's nice. They're all making the breakfast. They're eating. Everything looks great. And then they start going down. You know, this was our ordinary life. Again, though, it's going with the idea of somebody who would be in an orphanage. Yeah, it's different from what we have. And it might not be the best life without parents and things like that, but it was their ordinary life. And then you get the rundown of what the ordinary life is. And then it starts to get slightly darker because it's a countdown of what they have there.
Yep. And it starts off like normal. You have a warm bed. That's nice. Delicious food. Yummy. And we see some guy's not very good at putting the food in his mouth. Oh, no.
What's he doing? It's probably like another cream puff.
Geez, cream puffs, all over the place. Oh. And then it starts getting a little all-white uniform. That's a bit odd. Our ID number on our neck. and we see a lot of different. They all seem to end with 194, so there's something going on there with the main three. And then it gets really creepy for the next double-page spread, and it is the daily test. And like, look at the faces. Like that's what spooks
There's
me.
not one face that isn't petrified, or nervous,
and even like the dark shading. It's very eerie. You know?
My God! And what I thought, like right away, you're like, okay, things are dark. If they at this point, I just thought if they don't pass this test, they're just kicked out. Like something that you would think is awful, or maybe they get put in the hole, or they end up being. They don't get dinner for 3 days. Like all these things that I'm thinking of, it really does go back to like Annie and those sort of things. But it's done in such a way that anything at this point, besides saying, well, they killed them, besides that, I couldn't possibly understand how bad this is going to get, whether it is involved with the test or not, whatever. But the idea of, what's going on with these tests and what would be the punishment if you didn't do well, because we don't necessarily think that we see a punishment. You just have these kids going through these. And it's funny because I have 5 kids. I say it a lot. And they have standardized testings all the time that you end up pretty much, let's shut down any learning right now. We have to do these testings because of the funding for the schools. If the standardized test scores are low, you don't get as much funding, all that. I thought that's what it was. I thought that this was one of those, well, the orphanage, they have to prove that they're teaching the kids, and this would be something that actually would benefit them, though they look petrified. Everyone, bulging eyes. And then also bothered me because it looks like the thing that they're using to give the answers look like little like electric razors. It kind of worried me. And they're even like scanning codes and things and how they're doing it. And it ends up where it's done well that you go through these tests, and they are almost, really, it's IQ test is what it looks like because of the idea of what's the next letter in a series.
It's pretty complex, right?
The deal, yeah. And so why are they doing this every day? Because that's the daily test, and that's what kind of got me a little like, ooh, this is a little creepy. But you do see that our Emma, Ray, and Norman are main. Emma's smiling. Ray, he's pissed. And Norman's just kind of there. Norman looks like a guy who just like walks through life and like he's smart, but he's like, whatever.
Like too cool for school?
Ray
though, isn't it?
Ray to me is like, he doesn't say whatever. He says, I'm out. I don't want any parts of this. You guys are sheep. He is. He's the rebel. Emma, though, just big smile on her face. She looks so cute. But yeah, they end up giving the scores. And you go from there because, you end up having our 3 main they all got perfect scores.
Wow.
They got 300, so they're all excited.
And we do see the little kids not doing so well. And especially, this is what's devastating, because we do see the little girl with her bunny rabbit, Connie. She says she didn't get most of the answers, like always. And knowing what we know now about what these tests do, it
actually makes me want to cry.
I know, it's
it really does, because here, when she says later, and you kind of get that idea, it's that she is slow.
Yeah.
She says, she's cute as a button, but she's just not that smart.
Well, she's the nicest girl around. You know?
I'm jealous. I didn't get most of it. Like always. Yeah, you don't want to laugh because it gets real dark. I'm like, no, don't laugh. You're the bottom level of the food chain here. But yeah, you see, our Emma, she's all excited. She ends up, and this teacher mom, I just want to slap her right now. I want to reach in and strangle her. Because that's like the thing that Emma likes the most. When I get praise from Mom, it's the best. It's so great. And then when we're done the test, we're allowed to go and play. And they go off to play tag. And it's funny too, because when you go and play this, it's one of those things that even while I was in this, because then you get the next breadcrumb, like you said about the breadcrumbs is, we're not allowed outside. We were told that you can't go through the gates. Because if you go out in the outside world, you'll be done. It's evil. Something's going to get you, scaring kids. The problem is I think that for the most part, not many of these kids in this orphanage get to be 11. You usually get rid of them before, because an 11-year-old going to 12 is not going to be some kid who's going to be like a 4-year-old that thinks there's monsters outside the gate. They're going to be curious.
And that's when they want to like leave the nest as well.
Yeah,
explore.
You want to just go and also Emma's been there for 10 years. I want to see what's outside. I want to do this. And I think that that's done well of the idea that there probably isn't that many kids who last that long. There's only a couple special ones that they let hang around. But also, again, the special ones to get to that level seem to have to be the smartest ones. So they're going to even think, oh my God, what's going on? Have Ray pissed off. He wants to, like, they all want to go out, but they don't because they were told this. But that is the next deal. You can't go to the forest and you can't go outside the main gate to the outside world. And this would be something that, again, over the years, you start thinking, why is that? What's going on? Now, luckily, I guess, for the bad guys and gals here, there's not really a lot going on that these kids would really see that, ooh, I was lied to about that. Once that happens, and it does here, by the end, that's when all bets are off. Then you're not going to be able to believe anything that is going on.
But that's all
in your
behind closed doors.
Yeah, yeah. And luckily, like even that, like these kids, Emma's been there 10 years. She's been there since she's 1. She doesn't know anything else. She has no idea what anything that she knows is what she's been told. And, you're going now with that. Why also I think Ray is a gem.
Oh.
He's reading stuff a lot.
Oh,
now,
yeah?
you would think that the reading would be stuff that's controlled as well. But I think that Ray's smart enough that he's starting to put 2 and 2 together about some things. But also, my other thing is, if I'm mom, right, I might be awful, but not as awful as her. But if I was, the idea that they're playing tag here does set up as practice if they try to escape. That's all I can think of after we get the deal of letting them all go around and play tag. I think that this whole process with the mom and everything else involved, I think that they have gotten a little too high on the hog, and they don't think that anything's ever going to be a threat, because this is the idea of them playing tag, hiding, running away. That will serve them pretty well if they try to escape. And you see, too, that they're pretty good at it. They're smart. They think things through.
And it doubles as, physical education.
Yeah, and it's just there. I mean, when you're reading it, though, you're like, oh, they're having fun. This is great.
Yeah,
I mean, because
carefree.
Even with the numbers, who knows? I don't even know if this is our Earth, whatever. So maybe things are different. It just, though, it really points out, if it's me, it's pointing out things like Nazis and how they would brand people.
86?
Yeah. And so I'm like, this is what that feels like.
Yeah.
But how do I know? This might not be that bad. It might not be that bad to brand kids with numbers like cattle. I don't know. But yeah, you have all this going down, and they're talking again about, this gate and how, and it's done. And seriously, is that the cutest thing of seeing Emma, Norman, and Ray as little kids?
Oh, adorable.
I mean,
little flashback.
Oh, it's so great. Also, you realize they're not big on changing hairstyles. If you have a hairstyle at 5, you will have that at 11.
Stick with it.
Especially Ray. He has that. It's such, I hate to say the deal, but it is such a goth emo look with
Covered
the hair over the one eye.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I wish my hair was that. But yeah, they went off in secret to go check out this gatehouse and things like that. And they see that there is kind of a house there at the gate, but it looked abandoned. Nobody's there. And at that point of being little kids, they think that that gate is there to protect them, not to keep them in. And, they're talking about, too, what would you do if you got outside? What do you think the world's like? What would you do? And Emma, the kid, here's where she's a full gem. I'm going to ride a giraffe. And you see her there. She's all excited. And I like that, too, because you kind of get the idea they're going to find out that things are a little more harsher in the outside world.
But then all they've seen of it is probably like picture books from zoos and stuff. So that's what the outside world is to them,
Again, though, if I'm the teacher, mother, I wouldn't let them see these books, because that's going to want. No. I would write I'd be my own author in here. And it was a dark night. The kid went outside the gate. He was eaten.
Oh, no.
The end. But even then might be a little push towards what's really going on, because that does happen. But still, I mean, everything is great if you stay in the orphanage, because the orphanage is paradise on earth, and nobody could ever hurt you.
The end.
And then that's the love mom.
Boom.
Just do that. That's what I would do. But yeah, you end up having these kids also setting up that these kids are pretty smart already. Like, nobody really goes off to do this, but they're pretty spunky. they want to do their own thing. They're free thinkers, all that stuff going on. Than to just, what we find out is it's just awfulness that's going to come. But yeah, you end up where they were told they're going to be dangerous. And they keep talking about, what's on the outside world, what's going on. And you do see the deal of, wearing white all the time. But when kids go outside and they get to wear different
the fancy
outfits,
going away outfit.
And this actually goes to that, what is it, to your eternity? Or what is the idea of, and this is like an Animal Farm thing too. Well, why don't the kids that leave ever write back? Oh, it must be because they're having so much fun. They don't have time to write letters. And you're like, no.
Oh,
no, that doesn't sound right. That's a kid's thing.
Well, even here we get more of the little I want to see the outside world. They want to wear the different clothes, and they see the trains and all this.
Yeah, all that. And but they're interested in it. They think it's a paradise. But I guess the idea, and I'm surprised they don't push the idea of it, but it might get even darker before us. The idea like orphans don't deserve to, like, you have to have a family to go see because it's a weird concept. Look, hey, you can't go outside the gates, right? But when you get adopted, you go outside the gates and it's so great out there. Like, what is the back and forth of it? Is it bad out there? Is there some sort of land? They have the no man's land you got to get through, the haunted forest? Why is it that they're being told you got to keep in here or you'll die? But if you get it, you're fine then. And I think that's why they have these mixed feelings about it, that the idea, because of them being there all along, the idea of the outside trains and clothes, I don't think that they even put that together with the idea where you could just open the gate and everything's great, or they would, it goes with getting adopted and going.
That's almost the fantasy of it all, right? Yeah.
And then you do see Ray, he's reading all the books, and there you see an elephant and stuff, so you're probably right that they end up doing that. And he probably even talks about them, hey, you got to read this and stuff like that. At this point, he's pretty much a loner. But they end up playing, tag. They end up having where
and this
Norman,
is like extreme parkour tag.
Yeah, they're going at it because I think this is their biggest thing that they can do and have fun. But again, doesn't it lead you to think like if they do end up having to escape, they're going to be pretty good because they even say, we know the grounds better than anything. We've been through this. We've been playing the games and all. And you do get that rundown of Norman. He's a genius who has by far the best brains. Ray is just as smart and as resourceful as well as knowledgeable. Emma has outstanding motor skills, and her astounding learning ability allows her to follow the others too closely. So you get that deal there. And then they're playing. You end up having, I like where Ray is like talking shade off at Emma because, oh man, I want to win. Like, you never win. Norman is too much of a thinker for you. And I like it where he's just there like, oh, get off your butt and start playing, jerk. But yeah, you have all this set up and then you get even more like, I could say by the end and knowing the twist, like, okay, did we go too far with this? Like, okay, we're going to flip the script here and now we're going to go after Norman. We're all it. But it does say, like, you'll never catch him. Again, he's really good. But you see that little girl again. And I'm telling you, it makes me want to cry again. Because for some reason, just look at her at points, especially when she ends up a little later, she does get adopted. When she has the big panel of, but when I'm an adult, I want to be a mother like mom. Just look at that. She is cute as a button. But she also looks a little slow. I don't want to be mean, but she does. You know what I mean? And she even says, I'm slow. And one of the most, I don't know, endearing things is somebody who knows their faults and is not angry about them. Like, she doesn't seem to be like, she says, I'm jealous of you guys. I wish I
We
got
never see her without a smile.
Yeah, she's always happy. She's always, and then just to say, I'm going to grow up and be like mom. Because you even see her during this, whole deal with the hide and seek where she's kind of getting involved. She just wants to be involved. And even like, is that so? You're going to regret it, saying to Norman, this one kid's yelling, we're going to catch him. This is your last game after all, Connie. And she's like, okay. And she's, oh yeah. And it is Connie's last day. She got adopted. She's going to leave. And you're like, oh, look at how cute she is. She's so happy. She's going to go. She made a thing with a picture for mom.
Drawn a little picture, so.
How evil can you be to know what's going to go on and get this picture and hang it up on the wall.
And do you think this is something, like, do you see that little gallery? Is this something she does with every kid? How messed up is that? I mean,
It's
that's
so
like
messed
a
up.
trophy wall.
It
of
is.
anything. Oh.
Seriously. I mean, oh my God, you get ITEL seeing her, that girl's going to fall in love with mom. She's awful. Look at her. And then with that, you see the girl, and it's such a difference because now she's dressed up in regular outside the wall clothes, looks so cute, so happy. What do you think of my new clothes? She's so happy. This is one of the most heartbreaking things I've ever read in my life with what happens, because she is just nothing but happy, but not in a way of like, oh man, I'm better than you guys because I got adopted this thing. She just is so happy and says, I have this bunny and it's my most prized possession because mom made it. It's a one of a kind. Nobody else has this. I'm going to take it and it's going to be the best. And I'm going to be a mother like mom, because even if I am slow and I wasn't as good as the test as everyone else, I'm going to make sure that I'm a good person like mom. I'm going to be like mom and be so good, and it's going to be the greatest. And they end up seeing it. And even with that, you do end up having Emma kind of get a little upset.
Oh, there's teary eyes in all the crowds, you know?
But she doesn't get mad at the point where, like, oh man, why'd they take Connie? Connie's an idiot. It's just the idea of this is how it happens, and we're going to have to go soon. And eventually I'll get my turn. It'll be great. I'll get my turn eventually, because you have to go by the time you're 12. And it's just this little girl, so happy to go out. And I'm telling you, when she's there and says she's going to be like mom, she has like a kind of a dull look in her eye. I'm telling you, I don't want to be mean, but she doesn't. But she's so cute. And she's not
It even
mad.
looks like the bunny's smiling with her. Oh.
And then they end up saying goodbye. And Emma walks into the common room where they eat. And that bunny is sitting on the table. She forgot it. And that's the best. It's like, it makes sense. You're like, Connie always does this. She ended up having that big speech. I mean, she did have a speech to everybody about this. I'm never going to let go of my bunny. And then left it there and says, I guess it's possible because she's so absent-minded. Even then, the little picture is her smiling. She's just happy. And, oh, my God, what should we do? And this is the idea of, should we try to catch Connie? No, she's already gone. How are you going to get there? And then Ray comes in with the, maybe she isn't gone yet, because I saw a bathroom window that lights at the gate were on. And so they're like, okay. And Norman, he just goes with, like, he's real smart, but he just goes with the flow here. And he says, well, Connie would be happier if we ended up giving her this, then later. So let's go meet her at the gate, even though they know they'll be in trouble. And this is where, things get real. Because they have to break out of the door. It gives you the idea that, again, Norman's pretty good. He can figure things out. He says that a lock is like a puzzle box, and they end up going off to this gate. Now, the thing I like, too, is when they were little, they're looking into this nice little room and stuff. It seemed like the gate was like a nice you get here, it's militaristic deal with gears and a truck.
Oh, yeah. It's very dark.
It's already scary. And they go in trying to find Connie. And I wasn't prepared for this. I really wasn't. You go with it. I'm not crying. I swear, Luke. But
no, but
it's so heartbreaking.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking. And this is page 37 now. We've been building up to this the whole time.
Yeah.
But you never see it coming. You never see something
not
dark.
This dark. Like I said,
twisted.
Some of the things that you think are, oh, they'll get punished. Oh, they'll do that. Maybe somebody adopts. The other thing that's kind of a tell, too, in these stories is usually you'll have kids, prospective parents are here. Everybody get all gussied up and things. You never saw that. You never saw who she's going off to. There's not even a mention. Like, I'm going to be in Maine. I'm going to go to New York City. No, they're just leaving. And yeah, what happens? Because they do find Connie.
So, yes, there's this truck. And even, as you were saying, the truck is kind of militaristic design as well. And we see the truck. They're looking around. There's nobody in, like, the driver's seat or anything. So she can't find them inside the truck. So then Emma decides she's going to look in the back. And maybe she'll just leave, the little bunny there, and Connie will be able to find it. And then she drops the bunny. And Norman kind of looks around, and we just see Emma's shock in her eyes, and she says Norman. And then we turn the page, and in what is probably the most heart-wrenching turn page of all time, we see and no smiles.
No.
Connie's dead body with like a flower
With the
sticking
rose
out.
sticking out of her chest with
so
leaves all around her.
Disturbing.
And the way that they make this, it's like, you don't have Emma saying, "Oh my God, is she okay? Oh my God, is there?" There's no coming back. She's dead. She is fully just dead. And like you said, you have this little girl, and this is the thing that gets me, is you have this little girl going, thinking that her life's just beginning, going with a smile, going also saying that she's kind of slow, so who knows what they led her into here, that she should have been able to see, but really she can't do anything about it anyway. And then you have a girl who we only saw with a smile every time. Not with a smile now. She actually even has a little bit of a frown. And the way that they have it, where she's laying on her back, looking out into, us and Norman and Emma, it just breaks your heart. It also shows you that they're going to be pretty paralyzed with fear at this point. So they better get to it, because all of a sudden you start hearing people showing up. This is something where they probably would have stood there for who knows how long in shock, but they have to react. And this gets so crazy because they end up hiding under this truck. They have nowhere else to hide. But again, we saw they're good at hide and seek. They're good on their feet. They go under the truck with this going, and you end up with these voices that you don't know what's going on. It's like, "Hey, did you hear something?" That was probably your imagination. I think it might have been a cat. I'm going to eat that cat. You eat cats, and they're like going. I'm like, I don't know where this is going. Like, who are these guys or gals talking here? And then we see that they're not guys and gals. I don't know what they are. And it's, again, another shock.
Oh, yeah.
I'm still more shocked about Connie, but then this almost, in a weird way, horrifically explains something of how it went down and what happened. And now you're just like, the idea, oh my God, hide. Now it's not. It's get the hell out of there. This has gone beyond anything I ever thought was going on. These are demon, monster, alien-looking things that are horrendous. And just long tongues and feet,
the fingernails,
fingers and stuff like that. And then they grab poor Connie. And again, if you're going to go with the idea of how nice and, wholesome it seemed at the beginning, besides the neck tattoos, but they then shove her in a bottle with no care. I mean, this is like shoving a bunch of pickles in a jar.
It's so inhumane.
It's so bad. And it's so bad, especially that we know, again, that Emma and Norman had just seen, her little sister, even the way that she said they think of it, just shoving her in a bottle. And like, human flesh is the best. Hey, what's going on? Hey, who killed? And you have all these things coming down, and then you end up like, what's going on? Did they kill Connie? I have Emma trying to think of what this is. The other thing about this, though, is we're like, okay, well, Mom is going to take care of it. It's like, Mom will help us.
And even they're afraid. They think that something's happened to
that Mom is dead,
stage.
maybe. And that's the thing. You think that? Because I didn't. I'm like, you guys, you kids, you've now become adults. You have now gone past your young little lives. You better become an adult very quick. Yeah. And because then you even have, like, the book, and Emma thinks back, because there's, the fairy tales of monsters eating kids. And it is something that you have all those. The Grimm's fairy tales might as well be the cookbook of how to eat kids. And so then you have, I'm going to eat you. You have Emma. She's like, oh my God, what was I doing? And so it is a great way of showing you that this is kind of like down to the basic deal of a child's worst nightmare is a monster under the bed or whatnot is going to come and eat you. It's real. It's happening. And they're not going to be able to save poor Connie, but they have to do something. But like you said, they are worried about Mom. Maybe Mom's gone. And they start talking about all these things. The problem is, do you think that they realize, because these demons are like, yeah, we're at the farm, and basically they were cattle. But then they start talking about like, there's this high quality ones that are going to be coming soon. Do you think they realize it means them? Until like the very end, where they realize we got to get out of here because we're going to die. But I mean,
maybe Norman does. He could probably put two and two together,
because then they're like really talking about like a ceremony coming on. Hey, another 6-year-old. Why are we shipping only out the normal ones? There's a lot of like paperwork stuff going right here about what the deal is. Also, you can start looking on the ledger and things and see that the top 3 ones are the 11-year-olds with the 194s. Like, they are there, and you can see their scores, and you can see how Emma even improved, like all that, but they're the ones, and that's the caviar. That's the lobster tail that they're waiting for the real high-grade ones. Now, with that, I don't get it completely of the idea when they eat these things and these demons, do they get their smarts? Is that what the thing is? Because you kind of like have the idea where, unfortunately, Connie's like the veal, right? She hasn't gotten all stringy and stuff like that because she's young, but they seem to want to get that IQ. The IQ seems to be a big thing.
Because they're all like technically free range. They're running around.
I mean, they're organic kids.
Yeah,
they are.
But they like the brainy ones.
So I do get that. Okay, what are you doing? Are you getting their intelligence from them as well? And that's why, Connie says, I'm slow. All right, she's 6 or 7. Well, let's get her done. She's not going to get any better than this, and we'll just sell her off as a low grade. And that also breaks my heart again. The poor Connie is just like, that is the spam to the others filet mignon. Like, let's just get that. It's bad. But if you think about it, I mean, they're on a farm. They even say that. And if you're going to sit there and get upset about this, maybe I have to start thinking about all the things that I do eat, because I might be eating a Connie tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like, there's that dumb cow that I'm getting. And so it is.
Vegetarian on us,
I'm
Jim?
telling you, it's a way of kind of getting that in a roundabout deal of showing you that when you're not the highest of the food chain. The worst thing, though, is that they're talking to somebody. Hey, what's going on with these normal ones? We've got to get the high grade things. We've got to get more money, whatnot. Okay, I understand. Oh, no, it's Mom. She's in on it, and that's where...
like the last... We have like 3 horror turn pages, and that's the last one, because then they're banjaks.
That makes the whole rest, and reading back through it again makes it dark, like you said. Then you may not remember when you get to this the first time of the idea, oh, thank you, Connie, for that nice little picture. Oh, my God, there you go. I'll put that on the refrigerator. And now what? You want to be like me? Oh, my God, that's so nice. Give me a kiss, Connie. Oh, you're going to love your new life. Knowing that she was just, a lamb to the slaughter. And even then, when you see Mom there, all of a sudden she gets a little goth as well. Yeah. She's a lot darker. But yeah, she's like, I'm looking forward, the feed is in storage. I'm looking forward to next time. Certainly you can count on me. Mom is completely bad. You see those big eyes again from Norman and Emma. They are petrified of what's going on. And now they know that Mom is in with it as well. And then as a horror type story, you get the, wait a second, I smell something from under that truck. You're like, oh no, they had slipped out. You figured they would. They had slipped out and ran. And that's where like Emma keeps going, everything's going around in her head about this. Demons are imaginary creatures. This is a foster home. I don't know. Mom's usually gentle, Mom, right? All these things, but then farm shipping and like that whole deal. And then that's where Norman, as I said, seemed to have been just walking through life in this, that he's smarter than everyone ever. When he says it was Connie and he has that look on his face, like even at that point, you're expecting Emma to be the one to break down and cry, even for what little we know. And it's also Norman. I mean, this was somebody,
it's affected him.
Yeah. And they run back. And there's Ray who comes out. Hey, how did it go? We didn't make it. And look at how pissed and angry Norman is right away. Like, he is so angry. But the problem is, Ray's smart. You didn't make it. Well, where's the bear? Or, the rabbit stuffed animal. You didn't come back with it. What's going on here, guys? And I don't know why they just don't tell Ray right away. I mean, Ray is in the same position.
I would say like he is already like, you don't want to break it to the little kids but like Ray's
one
on.
Of them, right?
Yeah,
even with the idea that when Ray makes fun of Emma earlier, that's more of like a brother-sister thing. I mean, he's in tight with them.
They're the trio.
And I don't think that I got the idea from any of this that Ray would go and do something crazy. Ray would probably be the one that you want to tell right away, because he'll be, and where I get Ray, because it's a weird deal where you have Norman and Ray, and they say, Norman's the smartest. Well, Ray's just as smart, but I think that what you have is Norman probably is the guy who'll come up with this plan, right? Oh, this is the best plan. I think that you need Ray there to pick through that plan to make sure it is the best plan. I think that Ray would be able to pick some things out like, well, you say to go here, but that wouldn't be good, and let's go there. And then Emma's just there to, go with the flow and end up being,
But
charging
even
forward if
Ray-
you need something physical.
Ray being there, to see them as they return.
Yeah.
That shows that maybe like because did he know that they were going?
Yeah, they said. And he was sitting there and he ended up, because remember, he was the one who said, hey, there was a light on. They're like, we're going to go. But he didn't go because he seems to be a thinker, not a doer. But he's good at the thinking, it seems. Again, most people be like, we know what happens or whatnot. But this is what I'm getting from all this. But yeah, it like you said, it's horrific. It is so horrific what is going on. And you find out that, your food, you're there on a farm being raised and having all these things and seeing Connie, seeing her in a jar. And this is the stuff that keeps popping up now. And it is funny, the idea where they're thinking like this place is a farm. You see Mom, she's feeding the pigs and things or whatever.
Oh.
But one little thing can turn your perception of reality backwards. I'm food.
I'm the pigs.
I'm the food. I'm the pigs.
And the other thing as well is that now Mom has the rabbits, so she knows.
Yeah, they know that somebody was there, and she can only think it would be one of the three or whatever. Because, that one demon found the bunny under the car and get rid of it. And so they end up where right away, though, look at how mad. Like, Norman has been pissed. Like, when he really, they were in shock. When he's like, that was Connie. That's it. We're getting out of here.
Don't play games.
Let's get out. We have to get out of here. And, you have that thing. They've been pushed with the idea. You don't know what it's like outside. As you see Connie being, dead again. And, but in order to survive, we have to escape. And, Norman says, I'm going to pull it off. The three of us, including Ray, should be able to. We got to get out of here. And that's the thing. If it is just Norman and Ray, they probably would have been in a better shape to get out of there themselves. They could have probably
escaped the next day.
They would have left and gone and probably, may have made it, whatever. But that's the thing. Emma's not going to leave, and reminds them. That's Norman's thinking logically, not with his heart. Emma's very emotional, and she says, we can't leave. We can't let the rest of these kids. And the way that it plays out is so well, because most of them are like 5 and 6, and you can't do that. You can't just leave them. And Emma's like, I don't want any of my family to die. And I'm like, it's not possible. Don't worry. We'll all escape from here together. And I thought that was a crazy way, to end as they're discussing how they're going to do this. Norman smiling, making...
Do you think that is genuine from Norman?
I don't know. He might be kind of like, we'll just go and
save face.
Yeah, but this is what I said earlier, where all the lies you were told, you don't know they're lies, so you're going. But one little thing, and this isn't little. I mean, you could have a little thing happen that ends up breaking down the walls. When you end up seeing that your little quote-unquote sister goes off to her new life and she is slaughtered and put in a jar to eat, then everything's down. You can't trust, and they say, we can't trust anybody. We need a strategy. We got to think of this as playing tag. I need to find a way for all of us to survive, and they're trying to think of that now. And a weird deal too. Didn't it seem weird?
Is there one last twist?
That it's 2045 the year, and so you're probably going to find out that there is no food, that the world has been kind of run down and all this stuff. We didn't go green fast enough, but it does give you that twist to be like, oh my god! And then you have that circle on the day, Connie with the little bunny. I'm like, are you trying to kill me here? Seriously.
Oh.
So good. It is, and it's good on just a surface level read that ends up really wrenching you when you find out these things. And, oh my God, you want to know why that's going on. They give you just enough, but not enough so that you want more. But reading it through the second, third time, whatever, you really see how smartly played it was through the whole deal because of the idea of things that were set up that you didn't realize they were setting up. The idea, like I said, they're playing tag. That's going to help them. They end up where Connie's slow. We don't really know what that means. It seemed like an endearing thing to, oh man, look at her. She's so happy. And she's not the smartest, but she smiles throughout the whole day. And we find out that's why she was like, all of that just kills you. And now I'm mad because when you told me about the anime, I really want to watch it because this really, really intrigues me. I like the characters a lot. It does what we always want. You get the bit of the story, a mystery by the end of what's going on in the whole world, but I like all the characters.
Big characters, yeah.
Especially Connie. R.I.P. Connie. We hardly knew ye. But it does such a good job of that.
Yeah.
And now I realize if I do start watching the anime, it's going to get crappy by the second season.
You could get away with season 1. And season 1 even ends, like, it ends not at, like, a definitive ending, but that could be, like, close the book to a certain extent where you could just forget about it.
Just to me, it's almost like you're watching, your favorite sports team.
Yeah.
And you get to the playoffs and then you stop. Yeah. I mean, you may end up not getting your heart broken because your team doesn't make the Super Bowl or the championship, whatever it would be. Yeah, you want to go to the end. Yeah. And now you tell me the end stinks.
Uh-oh.
You ruined it. You ruined it for me, Luke.
Don't listen to me. What do I know? I mean, I haven't even seen it. So, I mean, take it all with a pinch of salt,
That is true. I do like salt. It's not good for me. I'm supposed to limit it, but I don't care.
They often.
What are they going to freaking rule my life? I mean, really? I'll do what I want.
Yeah, you ain't cattle. Jeez.
Yeah, really. I ain't no food.
You don't have the tattooed numbers. Oh, my goodness.
I'm telling you, I'd be in this place. I'm the only adult there because they don't even want to eat me. I'm like, I'm so bad. I'm like, what's that? We go off to get eaten? Well, why isn't anybody eating me? Like, I find out all the thing. I'm not being adopted, all right, but why aren't they eating me? I feel really bad. Well, what's so bad about me? Like, shut up, fatty. Get in the pen. It's like, all right, whatever. I'm a good boy. I end up figuring, maybe if I draw a picture of me and Mom and give it to her and make a big speech, they'll take me. They still don't take me. They're like,
she puts it in the trash.
You don't look good. Yes, right in the trash. She's like, we're not hanging this one up. Oh, Mom. I'm like, oh, God, where are the demons? Please. I'll tell them that I'm good. But yeah, overall, I'm a 9.5 for this first chapter. It's that good. It really is. And again, I went in, had no idea what was going on.
That's what really impressed me. Like, you went in blind.
I went in blind. I had no idea that by the end, I had no idea that this turns into demons eating kids. No idea. But yet, when I'm reading it, I started seeing some things that weren't real kosher. Okay. And like I said, usually in these stories, it just devolves into mean foster mom who is getting a paycheck for raising kids, but she doesn't give them anything.
I wish it was that.
Yeah.
I mean, wish really, it was that easy.
I'm telling you, if you have a bunch of, orphans dancing around and singing songs and things like that, and the worst will be is if, and even reading it at the beginning, I'm like, okay, what I think this is going to be is that Emma seems so cute, but for some reason, nobody's going to want to adopt her, and she's going to end up where Ray and Norman get adopted, and she's going to try to sneak out so she could be the family. I'm like, please, I wish. I wish that was that. I mean, oh, my God. So, yeah, it threw me. That page turn, it threw me bad. And like you said, and I'm glad, a good thing you brought up, the elusive samurai, the twist and the awfulness was just out of nowhere and didn't need to be there. And what we're saying is the one girl in it was just pretty much said she was raped and killed. Yeah. And it threw you off in a bad way. Like,
it was like a shock factor.
It's like, I don't know that I want to read this. This is kind of making me feel dirty. That sort of thing. It makes me feel bad. But like I said, when you get to the twist here, you want to transport into the book and grab those kids and run. And again, the problem is then if you do that, I go into the book, we start running, I get winded, I'm eaten, but at least then I'm like, you kids get to freedom as the demons eating me. Oh, save Connie. And maybe that would be it, but it doesn't happen. But yeah, and boy, that mom, evil, pure evil, what she's doing. Now, just as, again, I don't want to get too much. I even said to you, and that'll lead into what we were talking about earlier. The idea that, crazy idea, hey, I think this is going to happen is kind of a silly thing to do when you're, it's almost like I'm live tweeting Happy Days from 1978. You can find out, but
old people TV shows
actually to me looked like she wasn't fully on board. She looked like she was being told to do this, and if she doesn't, she'll get hurt as well. And I'm hoping.
She wasn't happy about it.
I'm possibly, hoping that by the end of this sort of escape and getting into the book that she may have a twist and is redeemed a little. She'll never get full redemption. There's no way for what she's let happen, but maybe she can do something to, make up for some of the things for at least these 3 kids that we love, hopefully for all of them. But I don't know what the hell these kids are going to do.
That's an optimistic outlook.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm hoping. I don't know, though. What are they going to be, a roving band of toughs if they get out there, these little kids? I mean, really. So, yeah, and that's the other thing. What's the world like if they get out? And what's going on? Because we see what we think might be going on. I don't think it gets better outside those gates. It's just that they kept that. Maybe that's the thing. They've been telling the truth. You can't get out, but it's more for a benefit of theirs because they want to. We're going to control the killings here, but you'll still get killed if you go out. So there'll be trouble. That'd be real trouble.
But ignorance is bliss, and they're living a happy life until the beans got spilled.
They did. But didn't they have a better 11 years than maybe me and you had? Didn't they live a full life there?
My goodness.
Playing tag every day? Yeah, they have tests. But then you go play tag. I don't like tag. One of my least favorite games ever.
You'd be Ray. You'd be sitting on the tree.
Yeah, I would. And then I'd say, grow up, you jerks. They ended up, I said, Eric at work, they were playing tag the one day. They tagged me. I said, I guess this game is over. It's over. I'm not tagging anybody. That's all I need. An adult running around a warehouse playing tag, and the boss comes out. Like, well, who did I hire? And then again, Eric's still working, and I'm not. So what do I know? Maybe he's a big fan of tag. I don't know. But you're a 9.5 as well.
I'm 9.5. I think it ticks all the boxes, like you were saying. It has like those big character moments and like nice bit of action, and it's like those twists, those like the 3 page turns. I can't think of a better or like a more, I don't know, like emotional, heart-wrenching first chapter
it was.
That I've read recently. Like this one, really. And all that, like, you are almost compelled. Like, you gotta read the next chapter.
You know what's funny, too, is because a lot of things you can go with, a lot of things that will attempt this. And you do set it up to have it with having kids. Because if you seek it, but this never felt forced to get that twist. It never felt over the top. It never felt like, oh my God, they just did that to get our feelings and go. It's so well done because it's a natural progression. Things do get a little not wonky, but they start to feel like something's wrong here to
Twisted.
Go and lets you kind of ease into that something's wrong so that you come up, like I said, the worst possible things that you could think of aren't as bad as what happened. So it's still a shock. And the shock then is like, oh my God, like, I wish that it was what I thought. And that's so well done. So, yeah, I give this full kudos.
Oh.
Please go over to our Twitter and sign up or follow us at Weird Manga. If you follow us, we'll follow you back. Then you can really get, the pulse on the streets that write to us with suggestions and things like that. Also, go over to our regular Patreon deal, patreon.com/WeirdScienceManga, where you have a bunch of things going on and all of that stuff. And if you can rate and review us, that'd be great. All the wacky stuff.
Good stuff.
Anything else? Am I missing anything?
I think that's it.
All right. Well, that is it. Thanks, everybody. And we will talk to you next week.